Can you live comfortably on the Silver Coast of Portugal for under 2,000 euros a month? Well, that's a question that a lot of expats are asking, especially those coming from the US, where it can be hard to find a high quality of life for that price, especially one that comes with ocean views, a short walk to the beach, and fresh seafood every day.
Now, to be clear, Portugal's minimum wage is 870 euros per month, and so there are people in Portugal who certainly make their life work for a lot less than what we're talking about today. But this video is for you if you're moving from the US to Portugal and wondering what sort of life you could live on 2,000 euros per month on Portugal's Silver Coast.
So in this video, we're going to break it all down: housing, healthcare, daily necessities, to figure out if 2,000 euros a month is a reasonable amount to have a high quality of life here on the Silver Coast of Portugal.
And not just anywhere in Portugal, we're talking walking to the beach. Places like Nazaré, São Martinho de Porto, and Peniche. Now, we've lived here in Nazaré for a little over a year and a half, and so this is real life experience that we're going to be sharing with you.
Now, before we jump into all the numbers, we do want to let you know that if you are considering a move to Portugal, we have got a step-by-step guide to help you through every part of the process. It's called our Moving to Portugal online course, and we're going to leave a link in the description if you want to check that out. But for now, let's jump in. So if you want to live by the beach, as Matt said, places like Nazaré or Peniche or São Martinho de Porto, then you can find a good quality one bedroom starting at about 900 euros per month.
Now, if you wanted to save a little bit more money, you could move north a little bit to Figueira da Foz, where you could probably find a one bedroom place or a studio for about 700 euros per month.
If you want to know more about how far your budget will go for renting a place here on the Silver Coast, we have an entire video of different examples of what you can get from budget to bougie, and we'll leave a link to that video right here.
So let's talk about what it costs to live here on a daily basis. You know, groceries and utilities and things like that. Our experience for groceries, it costs roughly 400 euros per person. You could probably do it for less, or you could do it for a little bit more. If you want to get a basic mobile plan, that's going to be about 16 euros per month. Internet can run right around 40 euros per month to get really high quality internet service to your place. So now let's talk about electricity and heat. Now, this may be tricky because it's going to depend on your building, and if you're in an apartment building, where your apartment is in that building. You could probably pay 100 euros or so for heat in the winter if you need air conditioning, depending on where you end up. And we certainly don't need air conditioning here in Nazaré, but if you need air conditioning, it's probably going to run you a similar number in the summer as well.
So add it all up and the utilities come to about 150 euros per month. As Matt said, that may vary a little bit downward or upward, but that's a good ballpark. Next on the list is entertainment. Going out for a meal here on the Silver Coast is probably about 20 euros per person. We tend to go out about once a week, so that ends up, let's call it about $100 per month per person. So that means that your daily living costs all in are going to be about 650 euros per month. So Portugal has a public health care system, and most services are free or close to it.
But if you want to opt for the private health insurance, you certainly can. And of course, it's going to depend on your age and health status, but we find that private health insurance runs about 200 euros per person per month for somebody who's in our age bracket.
Right, and that also includes dental. And then we also pay for something we talk a lot about on this channel is a medical concierge service. Absolute game changer, and that costs 275 euros per person per year.
And prescriptions are inexpensive here as well. So I have a single prescription for a statin. For a 60-day supply, it runs about 4 euros. And one other thing is you can buy the equivalent of Tylenol here, a pack of 20 for less than 1 euro. Now, most places on the Silver Coast, it's just easier if you have a car, but there are exceptions. So if you lived in Caldas de Rainha, for example, it's a medium-sized city, it's walkable, it's got a local bus service, obviously it's got Ubers, just like every other place in Portugal as well. And you can easily get around either by walking or by taking a bus for €1 or 2 or an inexpensive Uber. And so lots of people that we know who live in Caldish just don't have a car because they don't need it. Now, you may find if you don't have a car, you really want to go to Lisbon or Porto or something like that. And you'll find that trips to those towns on buses are very inexpensive. So from Nazaré to Porto or Nazaré to Lisbon, we can get there for about between $8 to $15 on a one-way basis, depending on the time of day that you travel. Now, if you do decide to get a car, there's things like car insurance and maintenance that you need to budget for. So for car insurance, we spend about 55 euros per month. It's billed once a year, but it comes out to 55 euros per month. And for maintenance, you know, you just take it in whenever you need maintenance. So we've had our car in 3 times for maintenance in the last 19 months, and the total averages out to 60 euros per month to budget for maintenance.
Now, I do want to say that on that maintenance, we drive a lot more than the average driver. I think we've put on over 40,000 kilometers on the car in the 18 months that we've been here because we love a road trip and we're always on the road. So that's probably higher than the average for ongoing maintenance for the car.
Yeah, it's about 25,000 miles per year.
Yeah.
That's the pace. So one of the things in Portugal that's more expensive than it would be in the US is the cost of gasoline. So one tank of gas costs about 64, 63 euros, which is around $70 to fill it up. And that will take us about 425 miles or roughly 700 kilometers. Now tolls and parking are another thing. And you know, parking is very manageable on the Silver Coast. Most parking is free, but if you have to pay for parking, you'll find that in almost every place, it's less than €1 per hour to park.
Yeah, tolls actually can add up quite a bit if you travel a lot on the autostrad, but there are always or usually back roads that you can take and avoid those, which is probably why there's so few people on the autostrad, but those can add up. So let's add it all up and see where we are. Your monthly budget could look like this. Housing, somewhere between 700 and 900 euros for a basic 1-bedroom near the beach. Groceries, utilities, and going out, 650 euros a month. Healthcare, anywhere between 0 to 300 euros, depending on what medical and healthcare choices you make. Transportation, anywhere between 20 euros a month and 150 euros per month. That would put you somewhere between 1,370 and 2,000 euros per month.
And what do you get for that price? You're living within walking distance of the beach. You're eating fresh seafood. You're living in one of the most safe and scenic places in Portugal.
Now, of course, there will always be other expenses to consider, things like clothes, travel, toiletries, and other things. But if the question is, could I have a comfortable, high quality of life on the Silver Coast of Portugal for 2,000 euros a month or less? The answer is absolutely yes.
If you're planning to move to Portugal, well, we built a Moving to Portugal online course that covers things like visas, healthcare, cost of living, all of these things and so much more. We'll leave a link in the description below.
And if you want to know more about what you can buy on the Silver Coast for a budget of about 400,000, watch this next video.